Dutch-Monagesque artist Adeline de Monsegnat's work is greatly influenced by the uncanny. For her latest exhibition at Ronchini Gallery, she has created a large-scale installation exploring childhood memories. So let's talk a bit about the Ronchini show. You're making an installation that resembles your childhood bedroom.
So the installation is, the dimensions are based on my childhood bedroom's size. So I've taken all the dimensions, the height, the width, the length. And that was because when I thought of the solo show, it's something quite intimate and it's quite intimidating as well. And I thought that to push that sense of intimacy and intimidation, the most intimate space I could think of was my childhood bedroom. And if I were to invite people to my world, to my mind, that was really a meaningful place because that's where I started being creative as a child. That's where I started making, drawing, doing all sorts of things, creating perfume, like creating cards and just drawing all the time. So I think it's an interesting space to evolve as a human being, and that such a familiar space becomes so unfamiliar is also quite interesting. So I've learned a lot about myself through the process.
Is it the first time that you've made a fully immersive installation like this?
Yes, I think so. I've done installations before, but they were certainly smaller and not as immersive as this one. This one really invites people to walk around, to feel cocooned by the space. So yeah, by far the most immersive.
And the red and white material around the bedroom, that is actually, you've mentioned, but it's the awnings from your family home.
It is. So the striped fabric is such a known sight for me. It really, whenever I see it, I just feel like at home immediately. And it's interesting. All those bars, they also resemble the bars of a prison cell. When you're inside, you feel safe, yet it's a little bit of a prison as well. So it's interesting, all the contrasting feelings of claustrophobia, yes, yet safety. And I think we can all relate to that. A home is the place where you grow up, you evolve, and you experience your first feelings for the first time. And I think it's a powerful place. It really retains all those memories, and I think it's been quite an interesting thing for me to kind of excavate all those past memories.
So what's inside the bedroom?
So inside the bedroom there is a cube that is the exact same measurement as a human body, as my body. I took myself as an example, but it's more or less the human body. So it's 170 by 170 by 170. So what Da Vinci said, the Vitruvian man fits in a cube. So just to give like the notion of the presence of a body within a space. And within that, there are all the creatures growing out of bed sheets that I've also collected from home. So you see them grow, like ideas have grown in my mind. The way creatures, the creatures of your imaginations grow. And I think it's opening the doors to my home, so to speak, is also opening the doors to my mind. And I think these really represent exactly what my obsession is, with my obsession with the fur, the glass, and making those creatures that have a sense of life.
And you're taking memories with you, but also adding new memories.
Exactly. It's always about adding and adding and gathering and gathering. I think that's Gabriel Orozco did this beautiful piece, which is a plasticine sphere, his own weight, that he would just push along the streets of New York and just gathering marks of the streets, dust, dirt. And I think that's just such a beautiful image of what we all do. We roll along and carry on through life and just gather memories and emotions. And I think that's quite a beautiful image.
Your work is all about exploring the uncanny and subverting the familiar. When did you first encounter the notion of the uncanny?
Actually, it was during my BA at UCL. I did a BA in language and culture, so it's lots of literature. I got to pick and choose different courses in different departments. So I did anthropology, ethnography, and there was this one particular class that I will always remember. where we were told to experience to make the familiar strange. So the task was to go around London and to experience everything, as if for the first time. So we were given that experience, and everything just felt, like a new. It was a very interesting experience to just feel like an alien, and suddenly all the senses are heightened, and it was lovely. And then after that we were given the text, The Uncanny, to read. So that was the first time I read Freud's Uncanny was then.
And then you went on and you did an MA thesis on that area as well?
Subverting the familiar, exactly. So it was based on, just our experiences through our senses, and how you can be invited to a new experience. So, for instance, touching with your eyes rather than with your hands. All these notions that are completely different. And the uncanny is lots to do with the uncertainty whether something is alive or not, animate or inanimate. So it's often the threshold of something quite unknown and mysterious.
Talking about being alive or not alive, do you see your work as objects or as living creatures?
I see them exactly as in the limbo of both. And I think that tension is quite interesting. So the tension between the object that's obviously inanimate, yet having the glimpse of a thought of maybe it being alive. So by using organic materials, by giving the object a story, suddenly it starts to have a story, a soul, a body. So all these things are quite interesting. But I think objects do tend to come to life with a story, thanks to human beings. If we pay attention to them, they start having a soul more than anything else.
And you give your creatures, you give them first names as well as just titles.
Yes, that's sometimes I've done that with a project called the Creature Project, where I invited artists, philosophers, even my own mother, everyone that works with the theme of motherhood, or actually my mother being mine. For me, it was quite an interesting experience. I invited them to give me their birth certificates, and with those pieces of information that I found, so the length and their weight as newborns, I made glass vessels that were exactly their weight and their length. Then I mirrored those glass vessels with mirroring chemicals, and that enabled them to then hold those sculptures. But then you have, it's more than that. You have the sense of presence of the sculpture, you have the sense of weight, and then, and the story behind it. Suddenly you start to have emotions towards something, towards an inanimate object, and I think that's quite interesting. And I think adding to that fact, when you do give an object a first name, knowing that it's yours or someone else's, suddenly it gives a personality to the object. My materials, I think I get seduced by materials. It's an encounter every time, and I often like the flaws that they have. If it's a fabric that has a story, it's been worn out with the weather, or a piece of clothing that has been worn and has a soul because of that, because of the person who's worn it. So for instance, at the moment I'm working on an installation for my solo show at Ronchini, and I've gathered materials from home, and some of them have really this sense of aging with time. So you see the rips, you see the wounds of the fabric, you see the mold here and there, and I think that's the beauty of what a fabric can do. It holds information, and it doesn't lie. It just tells the story just by the look of it. So I often use very tactile materials, or contrasting materials, such as contrasting the fur that is soft and tactile with the glass that is hard and cold. So combining those materials, I've used sand before, earth. I've even used eggshells and bread and all sorts of things. So it's every time an encounter, and I think it's an exciting thing to discover new materials as well.
What do you think Freud would think of your work and also of you?
I don't know, but I would love to be able to have a conversation with him and ask him.